Kia ora, my name's Helen Heath. This is my book, Our Friends Electric. It's a collection of poetry about people and technology and animals and how we're all coming together in this world. This brilliant cover art is by Kerry-Ann Lee, who is a fantastic collage artist, which I absolutely adore. A rise of starlings. Orion loosens his belt in our own night sky. You have drawn new maps across the darkness, through wild celestial fields, tracing messages to me in particles of dust and light. You never lived with restraint, so the gentle artfulness with which you left gave fresh freight to my heart, lending my gait a new lopsidedness. I am a rise of starlings. Can you catch me in your coat? This way of leaving aches, this black night into which I must send you out in the long boat of your body seems endless. Yeah, so I wrote that poem for my sister, whose partner was dying while I was writing the collection. So it's quite a meaningful poem for me. It's like I was saying before, I think everybody turns to poetry for the big things. So I think that what's important to me is connecting with people. I think that when you have an opportunity to make someone laugh or cry, to really think about things. A lot of the poems in this book are kind of like thought experiments. I'm trying to get people to think about what things might be like in the future and how they want things to be in the future. Do they want to have a partner in the cloud? You know, that sort of thing. So it's an opportunity to sort of think through big questions, but also to feel. If I can make someone feel something, then I feel like I've achieved my goal. I always feel like poetry is like the emo kid in the corner, whereas fiction is like the cool kid that everybody's flocking around. But I think there's some really exciting millennial poets around at the moment, like Hera Lindsay Bird and Tay Tibble, and I think that there's a momentum building behind them, which is great. I think partly it's to do with the way social media is working right now. When I was their age, the internet hadn't been invented, and so there was a different way of connecting with people. It was a smaller community, and it wasn't so easy to connect with people. Yeah, I think it's quite nerdy, but quite eclectic. There's a lot of research in it, but along with that, I think it's sort of quite playful and it doesn't take itself too seriously, I hope. The poetry community in New Zealand is incredibly welcoming and friendly. And when I did first start sharing my work, it was in open mic sessions and sort of live readings, because there wasn't the same kind of social media that was going on. So there were live events and there were journals that you could send things to. I think it's always really hard to get the guts to send something out for publication, because there's you're living with the fear of rejection all the time. But I think there's a compulsion there, with most writers, that it's just got to be done. You can't help it, and you take the pain. But I think, but knowing that the poetry community is just so supportive and kind, it makes it so much easier. Yeah. Yes. Well, in my first collection, I was writing about science, and I was writing about grief and loss, and that was focusing around the death of my mother. And then in the second collection, I was focusing again on science, but it was technology, But then, yes, my brother-in-law became ill while I was writing it, and so once more there was sort of this grief process that sort of crept into the collection. So I feel slightly worried to start writing a third book, because I don't want to to jinx things, but I feel like that grief is something that you can always come back to sort of. It's something that you never really get your head around. It's something that you're always trying to figure out. Personally, I am political, so there are aspects of that come through in my poetry. I think that it's down to the individual. I think that if you force anything on a poem, that's the minute that it dies. And it is really hard to write good political poetry, but I feel like there is the personal is political, and I think that is an undercurrent in a lot of what I write. I think that I have opinions. Yeah, I think that the more it's on the street and in people's faces, the more people remember. I mean, I think there's different things happening now. There's a lot of younger people in the slam scene, and I think that the more things open up like that, the more people find poetry, in whether they find it in the book or on a poster or in a pub. Then I think that I'm just really happy that it's getting out there. Just pick up your pen and start writing. Don't be afraid to send work out. Just keep going. If you get a rejection, it's just one rejection. If you get 10 rejections, who cares? If writing is what you want to do, don't give up, just keep going.